Hello and welcome to the Nothing They Do Is Ordinary podcast. I'm your host Ashish Ingarani here with Avenue Sound, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Roshan Shetty, who is a bespoke luxury audio, video, and home automation enthusiast, and has done a very beautiful job in his home of audio video solutions and home automation solutions. So, Dr. Roshan, please enlighten us what got you into this concept of making a smart home, adding luxury audio video solutions into your home. What brought about this thought process? Because we know that this is still a kind of a conservative topic at times, and sometimes someone can be a little scared to do that. So, what was your thought process, and how did you execute that?
So we've been traveling extensively and we do get exposed
Right.
to newer things, newer technological things, and plus we are radiologists, so we are in the cutting edge of technology anyways.
Absolutely.
So we always thought that it has to be facilitated in terms of the fan buttons or the light buttons, because in the earlier house when we used to stay, I used to enter the house, and then as we know, your radiologists are living in dark rooms, so when they come inside the house they want all the lights, all the fans on.
Right.
So I had to put on multiple buttons,
Oh wow.
and then I have to put off multiple buttons and multiple rooms. So this was one first thing which I thought that we have to eliminate.
Right.
So somehow we have to put this on automation so that all the buttons of electricity can be handled.
Right.
But our concern was always that Bombay is a seaside country, and plus we stay in Bandra, and humidity,
Right.
and the breakdowns of these kind of technological advances if we adapt to
Right.
compared to physical buttons.
Absolutely.
So this was my genuine concern, and which over the period of it was still my concern even after I installed it,
Right.
because I wanted to experiment still and
Absolutely.
take the risk.
Absolutely.
So once I took it, but since the last now 1 year we have been using it,
Right.
and we've not had a single breakdown.
Wow. That's
So
great.
this is what proves that the technology is now foolproof.
Absolutely. And so your experience so far has been quite good. I'm really glad to hear that. What would you suggest anybody coming into this space? What suggestion would you have for them in terms of research or what they should do when they're looking into adding something like this into their home or commercial space or anything like that? Would you have any suggestions that you can give to
So
our
automation
viewers?
wise, for sure they should first try and research
Right.
on various automation servers available.
Okay.
Like we have used a particular system,
Right.
and whether that system is the only system, no, there
Right.
might be other automation systems also,
Absolutely.
but these systems are 100% reliable. That much is my experience.
Right.
Now which system they should adapt to, they should do some research on it.
Great. Now I know you're a big fan of your music and you like to listen to music properly. You have a lot of choice, I think, when it comes to audio and video. What made you kind of narrow down your selections in terms of how much you invest in a good audio video system? Because the possibilities are endless. You can go as high as you want.
Correct.
So where do you kind of draw the line, or where do you kind of decide this is what I want to put into a system, and this is how I want to fit it into the house, and this is how I plan to use it? What are your thoughts on that?
This actually speaking needs expert advice,
Right.
whom you can blindly trust,
Fair enough.
because whatever said and done, we would not know to what level we can stretch our budget, and also within that budget which would be the optimum system to use.
Absolutely.
And also sometimes people like us professionals do not genuinely have a fixed budget,
Right.
and we would like to know what we are getting into.
Right.
So for which, again, as we know, we have to do a lot of research, but
Right.
finally experts of that particular field only can advise us which system. Like when we installed systems in our house,
Right.
I was not even aware of the brand for which we have finally chosen,
Yeah.
including the projector screen, including the speakers,
Right.
including the systems.
Right.
And then I didn't even know in-wall speakers exist.
Right.
And
Wow.
in-wall speakers can also give as good sound as wooden standalone speakers.
Yeah.
And also I didn't know that you need to have a very, very good subwoofer system
Right.
and to complement these things.
Nice.
And then an amplifier which may be giving the difference between a good system or a bad system.
Right.
So these are all you need good advice from good tech, good, real, trustable, reliable sources.
That's great. That's great to hear. I mean, in terms of integration, this whole space needs, obviously a certain amount of integration. What are your expectations from an integrator when you do a project like this? And what are things that you would like to see in the future if you did another house or something like that? What are some changes that you might make, or things like that which you can suggest to our viewers on what is something that an integrator can really do to stand out in your eyes?
So practically whatever we had imagined,
Yeah,
I think it has been executed in this house. So there is not a lot of deficit that I feel.
that's great.
Maybe one, I might say that the things can be added in
Right.
future,
Right.
because everybody may not have a very comprehensive thinking beforehand when
Absolutely.
they start the project.
Absolutely.
So when the wiring is done, there are a lot of concealed wires.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe some kind of provision can be made where you can add to it,
Future proofing yourself for adding in anything in any space.
adding new stuff
Nice.
in new places.
Yeah, that's a very good point you made.
So
Yeah.
that is one thing which I would suggest that maybe I would think about it in the future if I'm making a new house.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, and very important thing is these physical buttons also,
Right, the keypads.
which have been
Yeah.
added along with the software only on your phone or iPads.
Right.
That's also a game changer. Honestly, a game changer.
Oh, great. So, going along in that same direction, what are some of your favorite features of the system, or what is it? What is your use case? How do you and Dr. Sheetal use this?
Most important is we walk inside the house. As
Yeah.
I said, I need the entire house to be lighted up with tube lights. So there's only one button now. In all rooms, my tube lights are on immediately. All the fans are on immediately.
That's wonderful. That's excellent.
And on summer months, when we are approaching our house from the car, we put on the AC so
Right.
that we know that house is cooled down, because
that's
we
great,
live on a top floor.
Right.
So the ceiling heats up crazily.
Right.
So when you
right,
enter,
right.
you don't want to enter into a boiling house and then wait for half an hour.
Makes
so
sense.
this also makes a lot of difference.
That's
to
great.
us.
That's very nice.
And then we have the blinds.
Right.
Morning, I do not like to get up in a dark room.
Right.
So we automatically have kept the setting of the blinds to go up at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So every time the sun comes into our room, then we wake up.
Nice.
So all these things are a major thing. So we
That's
have set
great.
up scenes where the timing and everything is defined.
Wow.
And then we have a scorching sun coming inside some of our rooms.
Right.
So we don't want our furniture to get destroyed.
Wow.
So we have the blinds coming down at 11 o'clock in that particular rooms.
Wow. What are your expectations from the integrator in terms of support, service? What do you feel is most important that will make them stand out for your project, to make sure that they give you the best possible return on what you've invested into this project?
So always the fear is breakdown.
Right.
In India
Absolutely.
especially.
Absolutely.
And as I said, technology which was not used so often, we are not very sure
Right.
that it will sustain, and
Right.
humidity levels.
Right.
So we need a good support system
Yes.
on phone,
Yes.
and also immediate response.
Yes.
So that they come to your site, because every time we are not so technologically adept in
Absolutely.
handling these kind of new technological things.
Absolutely.
So a proper training and a proper response is
Right.
essential. But at the same time, these technology, what we have used at least in our house,
Right.
has been quite trouble free.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. I'm really glad to hear you've had such a great experience with it. We stress a lot to our friends and our dealers who we work with that don't just go in there and put the system in. Actually spend the time to calibrate it, program it, set it up, give the customer training, a handover, make sure that they're satisfied with every experience, follow up. Have you had this type of experience, and what would you suggest, to integrators out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The music system we had installed, and some expert who was supposed to fine tune it had
Right.
not fine tuned it.
Right.
Before that, the music system sounded completely different.
Right.
And then the perfect sound engineer came, he spent hours on it and then fine tuned the system. Then there was a quantum leap in the difference between the sound system.
That's amazing.
So
That's
same
good.
is the training for various scene making.
Absolutely,
As I
absolutely.
said, our imagination can go only to a certain level because we are not trained for this.
Yes,
So
yes.
the people have to guide us to tell us which scene should be incorporated.
That's true. Very true.
How to put the blind scene, or you will like this scene, or I would not like this scene.
Very nice,
So
yeah.
these scenes which can be put. And second thing is training us how to change the scenes. Every time
Yes.
you do not want to call the engineer to come down to
Yes,
the side.
yes.
So I know how to make the scenes now.
That's great. That's great. That's fantastic.
So
That's-
training is a must.
training is a must. I think one thing that a lot of integrators struggle with is collaboration with the architect. Was it pretty easy in your project to collaborate with the architect and get everything integrated to your liking, but still to the architect's liking also?
Yes, absolutely. Because my architect initially was very resistant because he is a traditional Indian homemaker.
Right.
And doesn't like modern technology much.
Right.
But after seeing the automation buttons, which are so elegant,
Right.
and having replaced all the physical buttons, how much ever pretty they are,
Right.
they stand out
Right.
uglily in your setup.
Absolutely.
So he is now floored, and he really likes those buttons.
That's great.
So architecture wise, there's no problem. Plus the contractors and the electricians should be, if they're taken early in the project.
Yes.
You have to decide early in the project that you want automation.
That's true.
If that is done, then the concealed wiring, the electrical systems, everything is incorporated along together.
That's a very good point that you
And
made.
the electrician can work along with the tandem with the automation team, so that all this is also without any obstacles.
Fantastic. That's great, Dr. Roshan. I'm so glad to hear you're having a great experience with the system. You shared a lot of insights with us today. We really appreciate that. I hope that you and Dr. Sheetal are really enjoying the system, and it's so good to see more homeowners taking the interest into technology integration. I think that's so important because the future is that now. We need to adapt technology, use it more, make it part of our lives because that's where we're all headed.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dr. Roshan. Any future plans or trends that you're thinking of that you want to add into this particular home, or anything in your mind right now?
Maybe if I accumulate enough money, maybe we'll upgrade the music system
Nice.
further.
That's great. That's great. That's great. That's fantastic, Dr. Roshan. Wow. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. You really helped us, get into the thought process from a customer's point of view. What are we looking at when you're building a technology integration project like this? What should a dealer or integrator be looking for? What should the architect be looking for? And what should the customer be thinking about? So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And again, we're signing off from the Nothing They Do Is Ordinary podcast. Thank you everyone for your time, and look forward to the next episode soon.
So the podcast went really well, and as we love your house and the aesthetics of it. Can you just show us two of the favorite features of your house? What would be?
As I said, favorite is to put on the light and entire house is lighted up with tube lights. Now in the evening, when you want to feel a little less tube lighty, then we have a system where we just have to go to scenes,
Nice.
and we just have to make this living evening scene on. So immediately the
Wow.
house is
Wow.
now yellow light
That's beautiful.
and calm and beautiful.
Wow, that's quite a dynamic change right there. Yeah, you feel the change very subtly, but it feels very like a lounge, type of effect where you're feeling very homely actually. Yeah.
Another most important feature is we do not have any television in our house. So we just have to put this Apple TV button on, and immediately the screen comes down and the Apple TV is on, the music system is on, everything is on, so I can immediately start the movie or Netflix or whatever I wish to see.
Oh, that's fantastic. Very nicely integrated.
Truly futuristic.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nicely
And by
integrated.
the way, along with this, the AC is also on.
Wow.
So
Oh,
that
wow.
is inbuilt inside the scene.
And this scene you can edit, Dr. Roshan. If you didn't want the AC on, you can edit it yourself and take that out.
which we
right?
do that also.
Nice.
In the winter
the
months,
winter
we
times.
had actually done that.
Wow.
And the blinds also can come up and down along with it setting.
So without the room
So
is
if we
completely
put this
dark.
on in the afternoon, then the blinds would have come down.
Nice.
How
Wow.
comfortable it is to adjust with the scenes, to tweak in, to go with the app.
After proper training, then it's as easy as just handling your smartphones.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.